us today. I'm Diego Crescieri. I'm from Creative Words, Italy, and I'm in the board of Elia. I'm really happy today to have with us Chris Ralph. And Chris is an expert in multilingual SEO and digital marketing. He has been delivering a presentation in Elia together in Barcelona recently, and the room was full of people. We couldn't fit in all the people that were there. And so we thought it was a good idea to have him back with this presentation. Thank you for being here, Chris. Just a couple of housekeeping stuff. Please mute yourself. This is a meeting session with Zoom, so mute yourself so that we don't have any noise and Chris can speak freely. If you have any questions, you can use the chat feature. We will leave some time at the end for the Q&A. If you have any burning questions, just tell me in the chat and I will interrupt Chris. We are recording this session. We'll be sharing the recording. It's also being streamlined on YouTube. Whenever we get to 100 attendees, the next ones would be redirected to the live streaming on YouTube. And be aware that there is a small, lag in time. So the streaming is 10 seconds late. Keep that in mind in case you have any questions. And finally, John is here with us. John is the MD of Elia. He's here with us. If you have any tech issues, feel free to also use the chat. Okay. With this being said, Chris, I shut up. I turn off my camera, and the floor is yours. And thank you so much again for being here today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Diego. Let me minimize cool. All right, so let's talk about the future of language services. We'll take a look specifically at trends, technologies, and strategies for success. We are riding the AI wave as we speak. All right. So my name is Chris. I'm originally from Switzerland, moved to Boulder back in 96. Holy cow, nearly 30 years. Spent about 10 years in the localization and internationalization industry. I eventually started my own business, I guess about 15 years ago, but I'm still pretty involved in the localization industry. Absolutely love this industry. So I'm very honored that I'm invited to speak at events like Elia Together Barcelona. It was an absolute blast. So I hope to stay involved in this industry. I'm an international keynote speaker. I'm a bit of an AI and SEO nerd, and also, I guess, an expert, as I will show you in just a bit. And then also, I'm a brand ambassador for a company called SE Ranking. It's an incredible tool that, if you want to give this a try here, what I'm showing you, you should sign up. They give us a free month-long trial. So it's an incredible tool. Tools are needed to stay ahead in this AI craziness that we're currently experiencing. All right. So if you do a search for international AI and SEO expert, you should see something like the following. Google is messing with their AI overviews, or soon it's going to be called AI mode all the time. But I guess I've proven to the search giant that I'm the real deal. So here's proof. All right, so very quickly about Boulder SEO marketing. So my team and I, we specialize in human-driven, AI-assisted national and multilingual SEO and content marketing strategies. We developed a proprietary methodology called micro SEO strategies, where we combine human expertise with cutting-edge AI technology. I'll show you more about this methodology in a second. But if you want to see what micro SEO is, just do a Google search for micro SEO, and you'll find a guide that I wrote about this methodology at the very top in Google. All right. You can also check us out at boulderseomarketing.com. So these are the things that we're going to try to tackle today here. We're going to talk about the trends, technologies, strategies for success. And then hopefully we'll have a little bit of time for Q&A at the end of this presentation. This is going to be a wild, but hopefully also a fun ride. It's going to be very fast paced, so make sure buckle up. I'm going to share a lot of information in a very short amount of time. I have been, I removed myself from the localization industry about, I guess, 15 years ago. So I'm not the absolute expert when it comes to knowing everything there is to know about localization, internationalization, etc. But I'm dangerous enough to hopefully show you some really good information that is useful and that you can actually put to work immediately. So, Elia Together, what an incredible event. That was probably the best localization event I've ever attended. As Diego mentioned during the introduction, I gave a presentation that's similar to what I'm talking about here today. The room was packed. There were a lot of people standing at the end of the room. So that's why I got invited to talk about this topic here. It seems that a lot of people are interested on what's going on, particularly with the language industry and AI. So, reality is that we're going to have to work together with these AIs, right? There's absolutely no denying. The better you become at working with these AI technologies, in my opinion, the more successful you will be. So, my goal is that you're gonna walk away with new ideas, new knowledge, insights that will get you excited, that hopefully you're not fearing that AI is taking away your job. Reality is it happens to a lot of us, but if you understand how to put AI to work for you, you will benefit. So that's the main goal of this presentation, that you get a clear picture how you could potentially benefit from implementing AI into your everything doing. All right. So when I got into the localization, internationalization industry, there was this thing called the Iron Triangle. Many of you probably still know what that is, right? You can only pick two out of quality, speed, or price or cost. Okay. I thoroughly believe that generative AI is not only revolutionizing, my industry, but also the language industry and basically every industry on Earth. There's probably a few industries that are not yet quite impacted by AI, but what I'm seeing is that AI is impacting every industry. Um, I have been speaking at conferences around the world, basically non-stop. I just went to two conferences last week. It's happening. Believe me, I talk to people that are way, 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 way smarter than I am and know so much more about this stuff than I do. And it is crazy what is happening. So, what I'm seeing is that Gen AI, can help create natural sounding translations. That's basically the quality in a way with unmatched speed. And this stuff is getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And that's basically the reality that we are faced with. So, um, the evolution of AI. November 2022, the world changed. It was like the Google moment where all of a sudden ChatGPT was launched and this tool signed on users in unprecedented ways, right? So that was the launch of generative AI, also referred to as Gen AI. All of a sudden, we could use this tool for free, and it could do things that could not even imagine would ever be possible, right? Then, very shortly after that, I mean, I clearly understood this is a game changer. And actually, I was invited by Gala to present a webinar on how Gen AI is going to impact the language industry. Uh, I think 3 months after ChatGPT launched. So I went to Google and I looked for conferences that talked about generative AI, AI in general, and I watched probably 120 hours worth of YouTube videos, and it started to make sense, right? So shortly after ChatGPT and Gen AI emerged, I one night I woke up in the middle of the night. I'm like, oh my God, what are we doing? We need to launch a tool. So then we had already approached the age of AI agents. So we developed a tool called BSM Copilot. I'm going to show you what this tool is and what it does. Um, but I basically spent about 6 days just doing prompt engineering, right? And Diego, you gave an incredible session at ELIA together where you showed us how to create a custom GPT. That's basically it, right?
Chris, just for the sake of truth, that was Tony, my friend Tony. He might be as well in the audience. It was not me.
Oh, it
That
was
was,
Tony. Sorry. You're right.
don't
You're right.
worry.
You guys look alike. Sorry. Yeah, Tony gave this presentation on how to create a custom GPT. That's basically it, right? And anybody can do it. So I just, created these prompts and I took it to my business partner and I said, hey, build me a tool. And it's incredible what this tool is doing. But you can do this on a smaller scale. Just create a custom GPT. Then the next phase, which we're moving into right now, is called agentic AI, where we can use off-the-shelf agentic AI tools. I can basically tell that tool, hey, go to the internet, buy me a pair of green running shoes, size 10.5, and I also want to make sure that I it's good for trail running, etc. This is where we're at, right? These tools, agentic AI, that's the next revolution where AI agents, they're going to talk to each other. So things are changing so rapidly. And then the next phase is called AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. That's basically where these AIs are as smart or smarter than we are. And then who knows what's next, right? But this is the reality. It's undeniable. We need to be prepared on dealing with this AI craziness. All right. Um, this is a report that I highly recommend you take a look at. You have the link to my slides. I put them into the chat. Um, so Google put together 601 real-world Gen AI use cases. So I dissected this a little bit. Here's a quick summary, and then I'm also going to share how it's impacting the localization translation industry. So Gen AI, it's beyond the hype, right? Real companies are using it to, they're not just experimenting, this is in use, right? This broad application for Gen AI, customer service, HR, creative and marketing, localization, translation. I could no longer live without AI. It's making me so much more productive, right? Then there's real tangible results that we achieve with the help of AI. And then the focus is not if you need to use it, it's like how you're going to use Gen AI into your everyday workflows. So this is the reality. Here's how the language services industry is impacted. Efficiency gains, incredibly enhanced capabilities, right? Think about voice, video creation, multilingual customer support, etc., etc. I mean, you can apply this basically into everything that we do to create multilingual content. And then workflow automation. It just makes things so much more efficient and streamlined. The key is that this is a human AI partnership. I'm going to talk more about human post editing, but this is where we're going, right? Where the focus is on humans will focus on relevancy and nuances. Some key considerations. We still have to keep a very close eye on what the output is of what these AIs are doing. Because, yes, there is tremendous hallucination. I catch it every day. People that simply just rely on the AI, they're going to be punished for potentially, crap in, crap out. That's what's happening. So keep an eye on what these AIs are doing. Yeah, integrating AI into your language processes, it's an absolute necessity. So, um, as Diego showed in sorry, Tony. Oh my God. Sorry, it's early here in Colorado. It doesn't matter how small or how large your business is, you can take advantage of Gen AI. And I will show an example in a second here. But we're a tiny company, less than 20 people, right? We are probably outsmarting companies in my space that are way bigger. So please don't think that even if you're a one man or woman operation, that you're not capable of doing this. You're going to be even faster in implementing AI. So hopefully this encourages you to really take this serious. So the good thing, the localization translation industry is not gonna go away quite yet. You're looking at a screenshot of a tool called SE Ranking. At the bottom there's a link to where you can sign up for a month-long free trial of this tool. I don't think you even need to put in a credit card or anything. It's a company out of the Ukraine that I like to promote. It's basically the only SEO tool that we use here. They do a lot of AI integration. So what you see here is the monthly search volume for the keyword translation agency. There's still a lot of people searching for very traditional keywords such as translation agency, translation services, if you look at the bottom there at related keywords. But it's critically important that you understand that you need to use tools such as SEO ranking for this process. All right. So let me see where we at. 20. Let's talk about trends. What is happening here? So I went to Gemini Advanced, which is a generative AI tool. It's Google's Gemini tools suite. I used Deep Research. If you are not familiar what Deep Research is, make sure do a little bit of research, take advantage of this tool, right? So I had this tool do research for this presentation that I'm giving here today. And I'm using some quotes throughout the presentation. I extracted all of the research that this tool gave me. It took me no time to create this. I think it's like a 30-page report. At the bottom is the link to this report. I exported it into Google Docs. Highly recommend as a follow-up, read this research. It really helped me prepare for this presentation here today. So, current observations, and that's a quote from the research. AI, it's not completely replacing everything that we do here in the language industry, but it's basically a feature enhancement. That's right now at this point in time how we need to see AI, right? AI augments human capabilities, So again, we got to work with AI hand in hand or next to each other. That's basically a big point that I want to make here in this presentation. Let's take a quick journey through time. Let's take a look at the translation industry, how it evolved, right? Early days, manual translation. Then we started to have dictionary, glossaries, but the focus was primarily on word-to-word translation. That's not that long ago. Then the rise of technology, that's when I got into the language services industry. It was at the end of late 90s, early 2000s. All of a sudden, we had CAT tools, right? Then, oh my gosh, translation memory, crazy. And then machine translation, that it took it to the next step, right? And we had tools like all of a sudden Google Translate, DeepL, where they could really do good things translating content in absolutely no time. Very high quality output, right? And there's also other tools that followed suit. Then the AI revolution starts. Then all of a sudden, neural machine translation improved the accuracy and fluency of translations. And then, not too long ago, AI-powered tools started to emerge. And then I think we started to figure out that, hey, this is reality. It's not going to go away. It's just going to go faster and faster. So we're going to have to focus on customization and cultural relevance. In my opinion, this is where we differentiate ourselves from the AI that are emerging as we speak. All right. All of this stuff increased merger and acquisition activities, driven by factors like stabilized interest rates, the rise of AI, that always impacts markets, and then things are happening, right? I think the language industry was relatively quiet in terms of merger and acquisitions for a while, and now things are happening. A lot of bigger companies are looking at smaller companies that are innovative, that come up with tools such as the stuff that we developed. You're not going to believe it, but man, I'm getting so many emails, calls, and inquiries for people that want to buy my company simply because I think we're a little bit more innovative than, other companies out there. And it really is not that hard. And I'm not that smart, to be honest. But it was fairly easy. I guess I understand AI and SEO. And then we built something that, other people have not yet been able to build. So if you are smarter than, a lot of people out there, this is an amazing opportunity. AI is creating both opportunities, but also challenges. So that's what we'll take a look at here in this presentation. So there's consolidation across the spectrum. My point here is, and I just mentioned it, a lot of larger companies are now acquiring smaller, innovative companies. But there's also a lot of smaller firms. They are struggling to survive. I had really good conversations at Elia Together in Barcelona, where I spoke with both people on both spectrums on the side. Some people, they totally get it. They're being extremely innovative. They're creating tools with the help of AI. And then other people that I spoke with, they're actually at the brink of going out of business. That is reality, right? So in this picture here, I actually moderated a panel at a digital marketing conference last week in Houston. These two ladies were amazing, but the week before, I was at another digital marketing event and I listened to a panel. On the panel, there basically the people were from very large companies. I'm not going to name them. I was shocked. They were struggling to implement AI. Simply, I think it's like the dinosaur effect. Some big companies, they're not agile enough to deal with this. So what I heard there was like, oh yeah, we're looking at how we can implement AI into our processes. I'm like, man, you're like 2 years too late. This will impact your business. Yeah. So please, please, please adapt to AI and see how you can implement AI and potentially build tools that will make you different from your competitors. All right. Sophia, I'm not sure if you're in the audience here today, but we had a long conversation at this very nice rooftop deck after, I think, day 1 or 2. And I think you really took to heart what we discussed. Somebody who really, I think, understood what I talked about. Sophia, I hope you're okay, me pointing you out, but I do notice that you updated your LinkedIn. You publish regular content using the right kind of keywords. I think you made that transition, right? From just being a standard translator in quotes to being somebody who specializes in SEO translation, SEO localization, AI content editing. Believe me, I don't think it's a coincidence that you're using these keywords. I bet that, you probably signed up for SE ranking and you did a bit of keyword research and you understand that more and more people are searching for these keywords. As you can see there, the trends are going up for these keywords. So well done, Sophia. I think you really benefited from attending Elia together, as so many other people have. All right. So my point here is that agility is key. This stuff is moving so very fast. My head is spinning every day, right? Because I feel like I need to stay up to date. I watch YouTube videos every day. I don't want to fall behind. So agility is key. Try to stay ahead of the game here. All right. So a few AI trends for 2025. As I mentioned earlier, agentic AI, these systems are now emerging. Last week, when I spoke in Houston at a digital marketing conference, we actually exhibited at this conference. There was somebody next to us. Oh my God. They built a agentic AI system that we basically can buy off the shelf, implemented into our processes. And it's, to be honest, dirt cheap. This is the reality. There's going to be, remember that slogan? There's an app for that. There's going to be an AI for everything. So keep an eye on what's going on in your particular niche or field. Compute is going through the roof. We're going to be able to do more in less time. Inference time compute. These models, they now think before they spit something out, and it's happening faster and faster. There's very small delays when you ask these tools to do anything. And also, there's going to be very large language models, but also very small language models. Let me show you an example. So here at Boulder SEO Marketing, I'm fairly busy these days, and unfortunately, I'm not always able to dedicate the time needed to, talk to my employees or give them advice, assistance, etc. So we built a micro language model, Virtual Chris. It's basically sort of like a custom GPT or a custom gem where we feed this tool with all the information that I produce, such as this webinar. This is going to be available on the replay of this webinar is going to be available on YouTube. We're going to feed this content into this tool because I am creating hopefully high quality source content, right? We're going to feed this into this micro language model. So my employees, they can go to this tool, as you see at the bottom there, type your message and basically ask Virtual Chris anything they need to know. It is groundbreaking. I recommend everybody set up a virtual, if not you personally, a company assistant. And then, by the way, apparently I'm multilingual in whatever language I need to converse. So I hope I made the point here. Let me see what time. All right, I think we're doing well. All right. So again, and I mentioned that earlier, advanced enterprise use cases. I recently listened to an interview with the CEO of IBM. They have basically replaced thousands and thousands of HR professionals at IBM with an AI system similar to the Virtual Chris, obviously on a much bigger scale. But this is reality. This is what's happening, right? These systems now, they have vast memory capabilities, and it's just going to get more efficient and more efficient. The most critical thing at this point in time is that we humans collaborate with these AIs. Don't let them just do things. We're still the driver at this point. Obviously, this can change in the probably not so distant future. So, specifically, I think there's probably a lot of human translators on this call here. We're seeing a shift towards quality assurance post editing of machine translations. And I think during my presentation at ELIA in Barcelona, I rubbed potentially a lot of people the wrong way because there were a lot of conversations going on LinkedIn after ELIA, which was great, right? I think it was a bit of a controversy presentation. But if you don't get it at this point, you will fall behind, and this can put you out of business, right? So reality is that we're moving towards human being quality assurance professionals, and we're going to have to post edit whatever these tools spit out. So I believe there's going to be tremendous demand for human expertise for people that have very in-depth knowledge about certain things that these AIs not yet quite master. This is what I would focus on, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of a discussion when I'm done here presenting. So, what you're looking at here, that's basically the process of our micro SEO strategies methodology. Here's how this works. So companies hire us because they want to rank at the top in Google for the keywords that they are targeting. And that can be, I think I'm showing the SEO price guide example. So we created a piece of content, an SEO price guide. So first we had to do keyword research. So we use tools like SE ranking for that process. So that is still a human task where we need to know how many people are searching for what kind of keywords. We usually pick about 3 to 5, maybe 10 target SEO keywords. Then we create a MicroStrategy summary document that includes, who are we targeting with this piece of content? What are the goals? Blah, blah, blah. There's probably like 20, 30 things in this summary document. Then we create a brand guide. We scrape the AI overviews I showed you at the beginning. If you do a search for international AI and SEO expert, that Google creates an AI overview. That's an AI generated, basically an overview of what Google deems important. Guess what? This information is critically important. Google presents us with the most important information. So we basically just scrape these AI overviews. We put them into a big document, and then I'll talk more about this, what we do with the information. We also do a search engine results pages analysis. We take a look at, who are the top 10 ranking, pages on the internet in Google? What do they have in common, right? So then we have really good information to understand what needs to be on our piece of content. And then we use deep research, as I showed you earlier, to do more research about the topic. Then we create a outline, and I'm going to show you an example of what our tool spits out. So not too long ago, this was a very manual process. Real humans did all of this stuff manual. Okay. Then they even created the outline, and then the outline was sent over to a human content creator. That could be a linguist. By the way, this is applicable in whatever language this content needs to be created. Then the human writer created the ultimate piece of information in relation to the search terms that we're targeting. Once we had created the piece of content, we created supporting content, post-launch promotion. For example, LinkedIn newsletter, content for a LinkedIn company page, a press release, content for Medium. You can create podcasts, etc., etc. All of this, not too long ago, was a manual process. Okay. Then we built BSM Copilot, this tool here that basically sits on top of ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity. We can use any generative AI tool to connect with. All of the white boxes, they are now AI automated. So we're still doing the keyword research manually. We create the summary doc manually because a real human person still needs to think about what is the overall overarching goal, etc. The brand guide, we meet with the client, we interview them. In my opinion, I think that could also be automated. That's probably the next step. But then all of these white boxes, they are now being done by BSM Copilot, our tool. And let me show you what this tool spits out, right? So based on all the things that we've done here, this tool then spits out a outline that we then send over to a human writer. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time here, but basically, as you can see, it is very detailed. It has a lot of instructions, and this is all based on prompts that we created. There's absolutely no room for, oh, I don't know what I need to do, or what kind of images I need to use, or what kind of backlinks or links outbound links I need to include. Everything is in this outline that we can then simply send over to the human writer there, this lovely lady. So this person then writes the content, and guess what? The post-launch promotion activities, we now are able to use AI to create content. And some of you may cringe now because there's a lot of hype about you cannot use AI to create content. Guess what? It's totally okay if you feed the AI on high quality source content that was created by a human being. 100% fine to then use the right kind of prompts to create press releases, newsletters, etc., etc. We even create podcasts completely done by the AI. This is new reality. This is applicable in any language you need this content to be created for. Proof is in the pudding. Shortly after we launched this Ultimate Local SEO guide, we showed up towards the top in Google. This is what we achieve for our clients. This is replicatable in any language. All right. AI as it impacts my industry, AI impacts the language services industry. You should use it to automate tasks that are very time consuming. So very sadly, I was able to let go of 3 people after we launched our BSM Copilot. I'm not happy about this, but it is the reality that we live in right now. I need to be competitive, right? Because my competitors are doing potentially the same thing, right? You need to use AI, in my opinion, to potentially draft initial translations. You can use it to extract key terminology. As Diego showed when he created the custom GPT, that's exactly how we can use these tools. Essentially, what we need to achieve, what the market is demanding, faster project turnaround times, increased throughput at it needs to cost less. This is basically what I'm seeing out there based on the research that I've done. And obviously, I'd love to hear from you guys if I'm on target. So very quickly, let's quickly talk about technologies. Right before I spoke in Barcelona, Multilingual came out with the year of AI. I went through this publication, and man, every ad focused on AI powered this, AI translation that, Argos, AI services, AI technology. I mean, it did not end. Honestly, I looked at every ad, everything is about AI architecture, human AI solution. This is reality, right? And then tools are now popping up like Lara that are heavily AI focused, localized AI. SDL is doing a lot of big things with AI. MemoQ, an AI powered CAT tool. Then also non-language services specific video and audio tools such as HeyGen. You can record yourself and then basically create a virtual you that can communicate in any language, right? This is the reality that we're living in. Tools are popping up because people are making money with these tools because the market is demanding it. So we have access to a lot of off-the-shelf tools. If you don't want to build your own tool, just get something off the shelf and make it part of your process. Also, Google Lens is re-emerging, right? Where you can parade around in whatever place you are and probably translate stuff in real time. I spoke in Shanghai, China last year, and guess what? I used my mobile computer, just point at text in Chinese, and it translated it in, like no time delay. That is the reality that we're living in. All right, we have a few minutes here before hopefully we have a little bit of time for Q&A and hopefully discussion. Strategies for success. This AI technology is going to accelerate workflows and increase output and efficiency. If I were you, I would take a look at everything that you do, everything that you do, create a visual representation, and take a look at what are you still doing manually, and either build your own tool. Preferably go out there and find a tool that you can buy off the shelf to do that. It will make you so much more efficient. Then I recommend, if you're a human translator or if you run an agency, focus on more complex and creative aspects of the job, such as transcreation. I'm going to show you an example here. One of our clients, they do these large center pivot irrigation sprinkler systems. If you do a search for this keyword, you will find a guide that we created using our micro SEO strategies methodology. We're even outranking Wikipedia, which I'm extremely surprised. Obviously, we did a good job there. So this company, their website is localized, I think, into 8 or 9 languages. So they ask us, hey, can we replicate this success into other languages? I'm like, sure. Oh, by the way, so we published this piece of content about 2.5 years ago. It still ranks near or at the top in Google for the right kind of keywords. So this is the power of organic SEO. That being said, they said, hey, why don't we start with the German market? It's like, sure, all we need to do is proper keyword transcreation. We're not just going to translate or localize the content. We're actually taking a look at, what are people in Germany typing into Google to find these pivot irrigation systems. So guess what? My team, we tracked down people such as Sophia on LinkedIn that are using the right kind of keywords. We looked at German keyword transcreator, German SEO expert. We then hired these people. We taught them how to do the keyword transcreation process. They did a really good job with our guidance. And look at this simple Google spreadsheet will do, where we gave them, hey, these are the English keywords. This how many people are searching for these keywords here in the US. And they went out, they did the research in German. Using tools like SE ranking so that we can see how many people are actually searching for the right kind of keywords in German in Germany. This is what it took. So this is one of these tasks that is still a manual process. Can we probably AI automate that? I would think so. Right now, it's still a manual process. I highly recommend that if you're a linguist, do something like Sophia did. It really works because we need to find people like her that know how to do this stuff. All right. So last slide, and then hopefully we'll have a little bit of time for Q&A. So my recommendation, don't be scared of AI. Don't think this is going to put you out of work. If you embrace AI and learn how to use it effectively, this is a very, very, very powerful tool that you can take to your advantage. What you need to do is develop new skills and specializations. Go out there, there's so many courses now online that will make you a more knowledgeable person in whatever you do. And then you got to adapt to changing market dynamics. At the end of the day, the market decides what is needed, who is needed, and how things are going to be done. So again, I was in the localization, internationalization industry for a very long time. I found it to be back then a little bit of a lagging industry where things always got done this way and people, had a hard time adapting to new technologies. I think it has changed a little bit based on the conversations that I had at ELIA together in Barcelona. But basically, these are my recommendations. Over. I hope you learned something new. Woo! I think we left enough time for Q&A. Yeah.
Few questions.
Yeah. Diego, a lot of information, huh?
A lot of information was. I wasn't attending your session in Barcelona, and I am quite amazed about how transparent and honest you've been in your presentation. And
You know,
this is how you can
it,
get some criticism as well, but it's good.
it, it's reality. This is what's
Yeah.
happening. Yeah. So I think if anybody has a comment, question, I mean, I would say feel free to unmute yourself, even show
Yep.
your face if you'd like. Otherwise, just put your question into the chat. And let me see.
Chat is quiet at
Um,
the moment.
okay. Okay. I see the question
Excellent.
from Mikal.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Uh-huh.
hi. Hi, Diego. Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
Michal. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you. Thank you because I've really been attending a few of these webinars and really curious what to do because I run an agency for 30 years
Yeah.
and slowly evolving. And, in the past few years, we've introduced I mean, some companies have used CAT tools for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
I've used it for maybe 6 to 7 years. So I've finally adapted to that. So my question is so should I, okay, we're using, let's say there are a lot of tools, but they're not necessarily integrated in the CAT tools. So what should I now just like ignore the CAT tools and everything that I've learned from that and start using different tools? Do you think we should shift away from that kind of model of work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So based on the research that I did, I think we're sort of like in a gray area right now. These big players, SDL, Lionbridge, et cetera, they are, I think, improving, upping their tools right now. So I think in the not so distant future, we're going to see that there's an API for whatever, right? They're going to have to adapt to what the market demands. And maybe Diego, maybe you know more about this. I would not quite abandon these tools yet. I did a lot of research on Lara. I'm not sure if anybody is using Lara. Um, and I'm not endorsing that tool, but they're like looking at APIs, connectors, et cetera, et cetera. So I think to answer your question is that there's going to be a suite of tools where you can connect to any kind of Gen AI tool, right? This is what's happening. And Diego, you probably know more about this than
No, I totally agree.
okay.
You know very well. I totally agree. One of the issues with the cut tools is segmentation, and AI doesn't work really well with segments. So that's something that will need to be solved. Probably the cut tools will still be there. That will be my answer, but will evolve as everybody is and everything is, I guess, and will evolve to something else. But they will be there, but they will need to change
Yeah,
because
because
otherwise AI
definitely the
is not.
segmentation gives the impression it just does sentence by sentence doesn't give you the complete ambience of the file of
Yeah,
the whole file. So, but
the
that's the
context.
way it works, and you have the repetitions, and
Mhm.
currently I'm using like the OpenAI or Claude as one of the engines that the CAT tool offers. So,
Yeah,
but it's not such a big difference, I think, from like Google Neural or DeepL or whatever. It doesn't. I'm not sure it's a big difference right now.
yeah. There was a slide where Chris, I think I'm not inventing this. You said that the biggest change will happen in automation and in process optimization. I think that in this moment, well, it's evolving, it's changing, it's improving, but the translation is not the best use case of LLMs right now. I mean, we can do much, much more. DeepL
Yeah.
is great, for instance, you know?
Yeah. So again, I mean, we could talk about this forever, right? I would
Yeah.
say within probably the next 6 months or so, we're gonna see where this is going. Yeah, so thank you so much for the question. And then I
Thank
see
you.
Mariana,
Yeah.
what are the main considerations we should be taking into account to maintain data privacy? And what is the right answer we should provide to our clients in terms of that? Very good question. So a couple of weeks ago, I spoke at a conference in Seattle, and I was on stage on a panel with the head of cloud with Microsoft. She basically, that's what she does, right? I didn't know, like we're we're feeding all the conversations that I have, including sales calls, into our, micro language model. So I was very happy to hear that it's in a closed environment. It doesn't go out. And let me quickly, I'm going to find that we uploaded that panel. I'm gonna add the link to our YouTube channel. So if you just go to videos, you'll see me sitting in a chair, I think in the middle with the right people there. I would listen to this panel discussion. I mean, I sat on stage with people that are way smarter than I am and know a lot more about this stuff. So I asked her exactly these questions. So from what I understood, is that data is very secure, but I don't know everything about it. So I recommend do your due diligence before you put data into these Gen AI tools that could potentially go to other places. I hope that makes sense.
It
Diego,
does make a lot of difference. And being smart could mean saying that you don't know an answer. So good job with that. Good
uh,
job with that.
let me see. Any other questions?
I think we have time for at least one more shorter one, maybe.
We got a couple of minutes here. All right. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, this is reality. I see how AI is impacting my industry, and we need to stay on top of things. Mikael, do you have another
Yeah.
question? Okay.
So apart from, let's say, quite a lot of projects that I receive are scanned documents, like contracts from PDFs from courts, things from the hospital. Is there a good solution for that? Or I mean, maybe that's something that traditional translation still applies to, or am I missing something? Because it can't go up on the CAT tool, so I just do.
So I would bet there, I mean, I do that. I use tools. I would think there's probably already a lot of tools that do a better job than I used to do that a lot, a long time ago when I was in localization. Diego, do you know of any tools that?
Yeah, I pasted the link for you, Michal. There is one that was in the news quite recently. It's Mistral, the French LLM. They have a system for very inexpensive system for OCR. So for scanning documents, you can check the link.
Awesome. And then Mariana, also I see that sometimes we have clients on RFPs that are looking for an AI implementation for translation. What do you understand for that? What do you think that they are looking for? Great question. Here's what I think. I think a lot of these large companies, they put out RFPs and they throw in stuff like, we need help with AI implementation for translation. They have no idea what they're looking for. They want you to figure out or come back with a solution. So this is sort of like the point that I try to make in my presentation, right? A lot of these larger companies, they are struggling with how AI is impacting them, and they're looking for people like us or, language service professionals that are a little bit ahead of the curve. Again, Tony did a great job in his hands-on workshop and where he showed us how to create a custom GPT. They're looking exactly for people like Tony that, Tony is probably not the smartest person in this industry, but he gets that, hey, this is where it's going, right? These are the tools that we need to do. So if somebody like Tony gets back to them and says, hey, yeah, I get it. I know how to do this stuff. I think this is what they're looking for. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mariana, by the way. Nice to
Hi,
meet you.
Mariana.
Hello, Mariana.
So following up on that question, it's like, so what? Are they looking for something like simpler than what when we think? In a way, you see that and you feel like that's a huge development that has to happen, and you have to have it already ready and ready to roll out for them and customize for them. It's something like more simpler that they're looking for.
Yeah, I think our industries are very similar, right? We make money with content. Mine is mostly English. We do, some multilingual. But they're not looking for the silver bullet. I think they're just as confused as we are about this AI stuff. And believe me, I don't claim to know everything there is to know. I think I'm a little bit ahead of the curve. But they're looking for somebody that knows a little bit more than they do. Again, we are in this transitioning period where before AGI, artificial general intelligence, based on, the people that I'm talking to at the conference where I present now, things are happening. A lot of these tools are developed by smaller players like us. It's like companies of, I would say, between 2 and 20 people, exactly people like us that are innovative. There's no big company that we have to report to. If I need something, I think about it, I go for a walk, I think about it, and like, man, this is so easy to implement. I quickly use AI to prompt it, and then I take it to my business partner who's way more technical than I am. I'm like, hey, Daniel, this is what we need to do because companies need it. I think this is exactly what's happening out there right now. Yeah. So that was a long answer. Yeah.
No, but that's a very interesting thing because, and that's one of the things that you mentioned in the beginning. You don't have to be like this big team. You don't have to have this huge team of developers within your company to actually do certain things. You could do it at a small scale and you do it quicker. And I think I stay with that. I think that was a very good point.
Yeah, this is just what I'm seeing right now. Nobody has figured this out. We're all struggling in this together. It's fun. I mean, I'm not intimidated by it. I'm like, yeah, at least something is finally changing. It makes it interesting. Yeah. Then let's see. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. I think, Chris, for the sake of time, I think we are past the hour. We should
Okay.
be closing this, and maybe we can have a second one. What do you think? Of course,
No,
there's a lot
I'd
of
love, I'll be applying again for probably in a year or so because right now so much is happening. I'm
Yeah.
super excited about it. I think I get it in some way or form. I'd love to talk about it again. Obviously, I'd love to do another webinar. Probably like 6 to 12 months from now would be a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Chris, for your amazing presentation, for sharing amazing information, a lot of stuff to digest, and a lot of links. Thank you to the audience for being here today. And we'll be providing the recording somehow. I don't know how, probably in our communication channels. And Chris, it was a pleasure. Thank you again for sharing all your knowledge. You know
Yeah.
more than you are ready to admit.
Well,
Honestly, it was
I guess I
amazing.
know a little bit more than some people. By the way, we're doing a webinar on AI and SEO in a month from now. I just put the link in there. This stuff is changing so fast. So if you want to know more about this stuff, please join us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This was again
Thank you.
a
I
pleasure.
just wanted to quickly answer the question that Diego was asking is there will be the link to the recording will be emailed. We have all the registrations, and so that will be coming in your email box.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you.
ODO members are.
Thank you so much, everybody. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Bye. Thank you so much for having me. Bye, guys.
Thank you.